Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to Physio Move and Groove. My name is Jeannie. I'm a physical therapist with over 25 years of experience helping people to move well, feel well, and be well. So today we're going to be talking about one of the things that I've seen probably the most common over the past 25 years, and that is something called patellofemoral syndrome or chondromalacia patella. Basically, what that means is that the undersurface of your kneecap or your patella on the front of your knee is a bit worn. It is not the same as osteoarthritis. It is a really common injury. Oftentimes that you'll describe it as feeling this dull, achy pain in your knee after sitting for a long period of time. Now, there are many different things that contribute to this type of syndrome that it would take way too long in one video to be able to go over all the different treatments that you can do. So I'm going to be focusing mainly on the best strengthening exercises that you can do for this particular issue. So for any injury that you have, no matter where in your body part, you want to try to follow a certain rules. So the first thing you're going to do is release whatever is tight. So this is where you're going to use your foam roll or your running stick to release the muscle tissue. And that's going to depend on, different diagnoses will have different areas that need to be released. You can refer to my foam roll video and my myofascial restriction video to learn how to release those. Secondly, after you release the muscle, you want to stretch it. And again, depending on what you have going on and what muscle imbalances you have will depend on which muscles you want to stretch. I also have a stretching video where you can learn about how long to stretch and how to stretch certain muscle groups. The third component, which is the component we're going to focus on, is strengthening, isolated muscle strengthening exercises for patellofemoral syndrome. The fourth thing you would do is, of course, strengthen your core. You do that for anything that you have wrong with you. And the last and final thing is to do functional activities based on what you're having difficulty doing. So it's super important, folks, to realize that knee pain is not just about the knee, but we must look upwards at the hip joint and downwards at the feet. Now, these are generalizations that I have seen over the past 25 years in people. It's super important that you go to your physical therapist so that they can evaluate where your muscle imbalances may be. But these are generalizations of what I mostly see. So at the feet, for people with patellofemoral syndrome, most of the time they have flat feet. So take your shoes off. Take a look at your feet right now. If you have low arches, that's going to affect the position that your knee goes into. The best thing you can do for that right off the get-go, simple and easy, is to get a shoe insert or orthotic. The one that I like is called Super Feet, S-U-P-E-R, feet. So that usually works best to help to work with the pronation of the foot. We're going to move on up to the hip. The hip is a huge contributor of knee pain. Most of the time, people will present with weak glute medius muscles, and that actually affects the angle that your knee goes into. So for people with patellofemoral syndrome, most of the time, we will find that the knee will fall inwards. You might not even notice it, but if you go up the stairs or you try to do a single leg squat, we'll see that the knee falls inwards, and that is mostly due to weak side glute muscle. Weak glute max muscle, a weak core, and actually one muscle that people don't even think about is a weak hip flexor above 90 degrees. Interestingly enough, there is only one hip flexor that works your muscles above 90 degrees, and that's your iliopsoas. And most of us don't even use that muscle. We use a different muscle called our tensor fasciae lata, and that's why so many people have that IT band problem. So again, we're focusing on the strengthening components. I'm going to show you 5 simple exercises. They are very beginner exercises, because with anything in life, you have to start at the beginning. If you get right into doing your single leg squats and you get into doing your single leg deadlifts, which of course are great strengthening exercises, if your core is not strong and your hips are not working, you're going to end up doing those exercises improperly and you're not going to actually be using the right muscles. So this is phase 1 of patellofemoral strengthening. As soon as you start having that knee pain, you can start doing these strengthening exercises. So we're going to take it down to the floor for these strengthening exercises. So I'll be right back in one moment. Okay, so here we go for the 5 most important exercises of phase 1 for patellofemoral syndrome. So first off, you're going to try to find a wall that you can actually put your leg on. Make sure you take your shoe off or that you have a pillowcase for over top of your shoe so you don't scuff up your walls. And then what you're going to do is you're going to lie all the way down and you're going to get your butt back against the wall, okay? The reason why we want to do these exercises against the wall is because it's less chance that you can cheat. Most of the time when people do single leg lifts or clam exercises, they roll their back backwards. So then you're doing an awesome back exercise, but you're not really working that glute med muscle, which is why we're doing this exercise. So that's why if you have the wall against you, it takes away your cheat of rolling backwards, which is what we need to be able to do. So you're going to make sure that you pull your abdominal muscles in first, almost like you've got this little space here that you could like just put your hand underneath. So you got to keep those abs tight. You're going to push your heel against the wall and then you're going to raise it up along the wall. Now, it's also super important that when you do this exercise that you feel it in the back of your glute here. It's kind of like your side back glute muscle. I should not see any motion up here. This is a big cheat here that people start to use their low back muscle, their quadratus lumborum muscle, and you start hip hiking and doing all sorts of crazy moves. We don't want that. You want your abs tight, you're kicking your heel back into the wall. You can even turn your legs slightly outwards, and then you're gonna lift it up, pushing against the wall, and you can try to hold it there for 10 seconds. So 10 seconds, pretty long time, pushing into the wall, keeping your abs tight, and then you're going to bring it back down. Again, you want to feel it right back here in the side of that hip muscle. You need to be able to do this exercise not against a wall and holding it for 10 seconds, 10 times, before you even think about doing any exercise in standing like squats or single leg squats or anything like that, because you need to get this glute medius muscle strong, okay? Another glute medius muscle exercise that you can do is a clam, and you can actually just stay in the same position. The only difference here is now you're going to bend your legs up and you're going to put your feet against the wall. Same principle, you're going to pull those abdominal muscles in nice and tight. So really suck those abs in. Almost imagine like you're putting on a pair of skinny jeans, or for you men out there watching that, you might want to wear skinny jeans. But you can think of lying on your stomach on really hot sand and you don't want your belly touching that hot sand, so you're pulling it in. And then you're going to have your feet stacked and you're going to bring your leg up and squeeze and hold for 10 seconds. And then after the 10 seconds, you'll bring it back down. Again, you're not able to rotate because your back is against the wall, so you can't cheat as much by using your back. Abs are tight, leg is lifting, so don't even think about using a band around your legs to do clams until you can hold this for 10 seconds and do 10 of them with really good form. So those are two exercises where you're sideline. Now another exercise is you're going to roll onto your back and you're going to do bridges. Bridges are a pretty common exercise. We are doing bridges in order to be able to strengthen your gluteal max muscle, not your hamstrings. So in order to activate those glute max muscles, you're going to bring your heels up. Now, the pressure is not going to be pushing your heels down into the floor, but it's actually going to be imagining pushing your heels away from you. You're going to pull those abdominal muscles in. Same thing, one of the other videos we talk about activating the transverse abdominis, that is the muscle you're pulling in. Then you're going to squeeze your butt cheeks together and you're going to push your heels away and you're going to lift up. And then you're going to hold this position for 10 seconds. Super important here that you do not arch your back, okay? So we do not want to be arching our back. We want to keep our abs tight, our glutes squeezed, our heels pushing away, and we're just going to simply hold this for 10 seconds, and then you're going to come back down. So really important that we strengthen those gluteal max muscles. Again, abs are tight, heels are pushing away, and up we go. And you can hold that for 10 seconds and do that 10 times as well. Now, one of the quad strengthening exercises that we do that are super important for strengthening the quadricep muscle that does not put pressure on that patellofemoral. A lot of times people want to do those leg extension machines. If you really want to do the leg extension machine, go ahead and go for it, but don't do the last 10 to 15 degrees of that leg straightening. So you take the pressure off of that patellofemoral area. But basically what you're going to do is a straight leg raise. Now, when you do your straight leg raise, it is super important that you tighten that quadricep muscle first. You can bend the other leg if you want, slightly turn your leg outwards, and then lift your leg up. You're gonna bring it up, you're gonna hold it for a few seconds, and then you're gonna bring that leg back down. So same thing there, make sure that you quad set first, so tighten that leg muscle as much as you can, and then lift your leg up, hold it for a few seconds, and then bring it back down. If that's too difficult for you to do, then you can lie back down on your back. The straighter up you are, the harder it is to actually perform that straight leg raise. Again, you're gonna hold it there 5 to 10 seconds, and then you're gonna bring it back down. A nice, safe way to strengthen that quadricep muscle without affecting that patellofemoral area. And the last exercise that we're gonna do is using that hip flexor above 90 degrees. Now, really simple to do at home. You just need a box. So wherever you might have those holiday decorations, you can just flip that box upside down. It needs to be strong enough for you to actually sit on. So a box for whatever, a storage box like this works perfectly. Then you're gonna get yourself so that you're actually against the wall. You'll pull those abdominal muscles in again, and you're gonna lift your leg up above that 90 degrees. The key here is that your toes stay straight, your leg does not turn outwards, and that you're able to get it above that 90 degrees while keeping your back still against the wall. And you can do the other side as well. Abs are tight, back's against the wall, and you lift that above the 90 degrees. Sometimes you might get a cramp in that hip flexor, so it's a good idea if you have a tennis ball to roll out that hip flexor first before you even try to do this exercise. Now, if you find that it is too hard for you to hold this for 10 seconds and do it 10 times, like your leg starts cheating, you're doing all sorts of funky stuff, it's hard for you to keep it there, then you can actually lie down on the ground and practice just lifting your leg up above 90 degrees when you're on your back. What that does, it takes the amazing power of gravity away, makes it a little bit easier for you to start with. So if you want to do that way first, you can even put a tennis ball in between there and try to hold it for 10 seconds, 10 times lying on your back. Once you can do that easier, you can come back to sitting up. You can advance this by even doing it standing. So let me show you how you would do that. Just putting your leg up on the box and then tightening your abs and lifting your leg up off of the box. So that's another way that you can do it in standing. Okay, so we'll be right back for our wrap up. Okay, so there you have it, folks. Those are the 5 most simple exercises that you can begin to do when you have that patellofemoral or chondromalacia patella syndrome. So thank you so much for tuning in. Just remember, I hope that you will remember to subscribe, press that subscribe button. It is right there. Simple to press. You can go ahead and do that. Like it. Give me some ideas of what you'd like me to cover in the future, because those things will simply just make my heart smile. And don't you want to make everyone smile? All right, folks. So thanks again for tuning in. Hope to see you next Friday. Just remember to keep moving and grooving. See you later.